So like if you were doing Jingle Bell Rock. Jingle bell, jingle bell. I see. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Da 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 da. And it's the only chord that sounds like that. Okay, it's really cool sound. It's used in jazz and everything. That right there is a D7 flat 9. Okay. Now we're doing D7 again. So if I'm making this sound, and I go like that, I've got the start of the blues. So I'm going 1 flat 7 5. Okay, and then I can take this note right here. Da, 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 da. You can tell that goes there. We don't need to identify what it is. Okay. Now I'm going to do a little blues, and then I'm going to go explain it as I go. Okay. Now if I had somebody, da, 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 da. Okay, say I can go A7 here. You don't want to do that chord right there. You want to do this chord, which you're lifting this up, and if you want to accent that, you put this other flat 7 down. Da, da, da. You can also do an A7 here like this. Excuse me. Okay. So I'm an A7, and I'm going to go to the D7. Just move your hands like this and go to these. Da, 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 da. This is your bar. It just keeps you up there right around that area. Now if I want to go to D7, I could come down here and do this D7 here, but that's a long ways to go. I got a choice here. I can make it right here. Okay? But I also can do this right here, which is not so obvious. If I'm playing this lead here, kind of lead, chicken picking. It's not lead, but it gives you that feel of almost being in the lead area. And I can do it like this, and I have a D7. Now how is that a D7? Well, I can take my hands around and I can move it around, and you can see that that's actually still in there. Okay? But this right here, that right there, is a form of D7. Now, do I have, it's rootless because I have a C in it, which is, remember, that's not that leading tone. It's always a whole step down from the root, from a D to a C. So it still works no matter what. This is a D, but I don't have the D in it. But now let's put the D in it, grab this up here, which is the A. If I moved it up, it's A, C, D. Okay? Okay, so I can play it up here, and I can play A, this note right here. This note right here, let me think about it just for a second, is an F sharp, which is the third. Okay? Because you're changing the look of it. And this right here has got to be a C. And it's a flat 7. It's always a whole tone down from the root, which is, root is on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, or the G string. But then it comes over and hits the this is a D, and now it becomes a C. Okay? So you must have that. And go back to, in the blues, you go back to the A7. And a lot of times I'll do this. Da, 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 da. Now this right here is the 4 chord, and it's dominant also. All these chords pretty much, other than some kind of jazz thing, are, this right here is a C7, okay? And so it's a C7, and there's another chord I want to show you. I'll go right back to it. But you can just take this C7 and move this right here, and it's going to amaze you that you can take something so easy, and now just move one little finger, and now you have a jazz chord. Okay? You see that? Okay, so that, and it goes back to an A7. That right there, believe it or not, this is an A7, excuse me, this right here, as I said before, is a D7, because we're playing in A. This is a D7, and so I'm going to take and move the D up 1 one semitone or half step, and I'm going to move it up. So that would be D flat there, right? So E, excuse me, that would be D sharp. So this is E flat or D sharp. Okay, sorry about the mistake. So that right there is moving me kind of up. It's doing something kind of cool. And that's a very common thing to do. Now, I can do that. That's also a diminished, by the way. So that's a diminished chord, but you can also think of this as a D flat diminished. I have to look into it. Fairly sure it is. And but I'm really thinking of this as a D7 flat 9. Now, why is it flat 9? Well, I carried the D7. Explained that already. That's going to have a D, C, and F sharp in it. Okay, it doesn't need to have the A in it, which is the fifth. D, E, F sharp, G, A. Always learn your scales. Scales are paramount to get good. Okay, and so now I want to show you why that's a D7. You always say D7 because that's the key thing. It's a D7, but it's a D7 flat 9. If I had the ninth in there, it wouldn't sound very good because that would be an E. And you always look on your, so D, D sharp, E, okay? And so D, now this becomes, you could call this a lot of things. This is diminished. This is a D sharp diminished or E flat diminished, either way you want to go. But really, I think of it as a D7 flat 9. Now, the flat 9 is not going to be a D, almost guaranteed, especially in the root. It has a tendency to have nothing to do with D. It becomes a D flat, D sharp, or C flat. That is what a flat, and that's what's confusing. You say it's a D7, but it has no D in it. A D7 flat 9, the note that's going to be determining most things is the note that you're walking up by. So, like if you were doing Jingle Bell Rock, jingle bell, I see, jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock, da 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 da, and it's the only chord that sounds like that. Okay, it's really cool sound. It's used in jazz and everything. That right there is a D7 flat 9. Okay. Now we're doing D7 again. There's a D7 flat 9. Da, 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 da. Remember I said they go da, 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 da. Now that's an A, and it's out of tune. Da, 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 da. You can put an A7 there. Da, 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 da. And that right there, I didn't plan on doing this song, but this is an illustration of it. That's an E7. And by the way, you could change that very easy to an E7 flat 9. We're not going to do it. But yeah, that's an E7, just making sure. Da, 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 da. And I put a ninth in there. And that's a D9. Okay? Okay? So anyways, so now I'm getting back to this. I'm going to give it a little bit of a blues sound here. And I'm going to walk it through here. What I'm doing an A. I'm plucking an A. Okay, I'm plucking the A, and I could go back and forth from 1, 2 on the top, on the A and the E. But I'm kind of, there'll be a band behind you, something else happening, okay? And then you would go to, go down, okay? This is really cool. Just saying 2 strings, okay? Now you kind of think, okay, I have a rootless D. My bass player's playing that. But I can change the fingering around a little bit, and now I have a D in there. Okay? And then back to A. And I'm kind of doing an A7, excuse me, A7, lost my A7, and that's got to be the 4 chord, okay? And that'd be an A, and this would be a D, okay? Little out of tune. This would be an A, D. And then I go to the 5 chord, which would be right here. This is an E7. And a lot of times in blues, you want to walk it down. And then you go to D7, which is a whole tone down. Or D7 here. Or D9. Let's give a different feel. And go back to the A7. And that's that.